Welcome to another episode of the GOAT Report Pod. I'm your boy TMan.
And I'm your boy Dre. You can find us at just about any social media site available. We got YouTube, Spotify, Instagram. So definitely show some love and check us out.
Yes, man, hit that subscribe button on all platforms.
Most definitely.
Well, my brother, with that being said, um, this episode we're bringing a new segment to our audience, specifically targeted towards our legal sports bettors out there. Um, we're going into a new week of the NFL season, and today, of course, is Saturday, so there's a slew of college games going on. But again, for my legal sports bettors, I have a strategy for you today. I know some of y'all like to stockpile your parlays up to 8 teams off of $10 to $20. And I know some that are able to do that and they have a strategy behind that as well. But for all of you that are taking the low risk, high reward approach, stop doing that because I know you're losing your money. A tip of advice is to cut those parlay picks in half at least from 8 to 4, 9 to 4. Cut those picks in half. If you have putting 10 teams on your parlays, cut it down to 5 and just drop heavy on those 3 to 5 teams. I promise you there's a more likelihood that you will hit on those parlays. Just bet bigger. And with that being said, we have a slew of NFL games again going on tomorrow. So some teams that I will recommend keeping on your parlays and dropping big on would be I like that San Francisco pick against Tampa Bay. San Fran has Christian McCaffrey coming back, and of course we know Tampa is uh, just being drenched with a bunch of injuries. I'm not sure. I think Mike Evans is still doubtful for tomorrow with that hamstring injury. Of course, Chris Godwin is out of the NFL for the season with that injury that he had. So I definitely like San Fran to beat Tampa tomorrow. I like Minnesota against Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence is scheduled not to play tomorrow. So I'm definitely going to take Minnesota. I like the Giants against Carolina. I mean, it's Carolina. So there's nothing else that needs to be said with that. I think that's an easy money line pick. And then if you want to add in a team with the spread on your parlay, I definitely like the Lions with those 2 points. I like to take them with the spread to win by a field goal or more. And of course, just drop down heavy on those 4 picks right there. That way you get for some of your pick, the majority of your picks, you get to take those heavy favorites just to win the game. That's the benefits of dropping down more money. You can take heavy favorites money line and still win back more money than you would dropping 20 to pick 8 teams. Um,
Right.
and also one single bet you could tap into. Georgia, they are favored by 2.5 points today against Ole Miss at 3:30. If you want to increase your chances of winning on your legal betting sites, take Georgia with the spread. We all know that the winners of football games, if they're going to win a game, they're probably going to win by 3 points or more. So go ahead and get that spread money on Georgia and just drop down on just them to win with the spread to increase your chances of winning. So just a little tip of advice. You do what you want with that, but I know that is my approach. Now, with that being said, bro, we're entering in the new week of the NFL season.
Yeah. Week 10.
Starts back up tomorrow. I want to ask you something, man. At
Yeah.
this juncture of the season, who do you want to win the Super Bowl the most?
Okay. I mean, honestly, personally, I mean, statistically wise too, but like it's more so personal for me. I'd really like to see the Ravens take that W, man. I'm not subscribing to the seeing the same team. And mind you, it's making history or whatever. It's all great, but like I'm really want to see Lamar Jackson get this championship, man, for the Super Bowl. Now I'm seeing that Derrick Henry is the number one leader in carries and yards and touchdowns, so they know how to move the ball on the ground. So they're making that work for sure. And then Lamar Jackson is second in passing with 24 touchdowns, and he has the best QB rating going into Week 10 as well. So they definitely know how to push the ball down the field for sure. They pass. I mean, their Russian defense is pretty good too. They stopping the defense around 75 yards a game on average. It's the passing struggle that's probably going to be a big thing for them, especially going against a team like the Chiefs, being that they're a favorite for everybody and they're still undefeated. So I'm just saying them just because of their play that going into Week 10. So if they're going against a team like the Chiefs, that's definitely going to be a struggle for them for sure, man. They ranked at 27 in passing defense, so I really want them to kind of iron out the kinks. We're already going past mid. We're in mid season, going into the second half. So as long as they iron this out before the playoffs are upon us, I think they have a good chance of actually getting some stuff done this year.
I can't argue with anyone that takes the Baltimore Ravens as their number one pick. I mean, it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, we're talking about a quarterback that is most people's pick at this point of the season to win MVP again, which will be his third. I mean, there's no question as to who's the most valuable player in the NFL. It's Lamar Jackson. No player is asked to do as much as he's asked to do. I mean, he just changes the whole complexion of the game.
Right.
I mean, and now, man, you add in the most vicious running back
Yeah.
in the NFL the last 6 years in Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers as your wideouts. You got Mr. Consistency and Mark Andrews at the tight end. So I definitely see why you're picking the Ravens um, as a team that you want to win. I definitely want to see Lamar win the Super Bowl too, man. Because I know what the narrative is going to be if he wins another MVP but doesn't cash in on the Super Bowl. Not Super Bowl appearance, Super Bowl win. And I don't want that narrative for him. So I definitely want Lamar to win the Super Bowl this year for sure. Man, I'm just worried about that pass defense, man.
Yeah, man. It's looking like because you know how the Chiefs get down, man. I'm like I said, I'm only using them for an example. I don't know anything yet. Nobody knows, but I'm just saying as far as how they've been playing up until now, if they do not figure out how to stop Mahomes going into the second half of this year. I mean, as far as like figuring out what they're gonna do to hold back that offense, it's going to be a struggle for them for sure, man. It's going to have a hard time. You don't want to have a hard time with figuring out a defense in the Super Bowl. We need to have a game plan sealed, ready
For
to go.
sure.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah, man. I think Lamar's greatness can definitely make up for some of those deficits on their defense in the passing game. Because again, man, their secondary has been playing awful this year. And I have a lot of respect for Marlon Humphreys, but man, he needs some help. He's been the only one in that secondary that has been making plays on the defensive side of the ball. Um, but if there is any player that I think is up to the challenge, it's definitely Lamar. I believe that much in his talent. Just being a Michael Vick fan, man, being from Atlanta and again being a Michael Vick fan, Lamar is a replica of Michael Vick. So I definitely root for him a lot. Um,
very exciting play for sure to
for
watch. It was
sure.
great, great to watch. Yeah,
So I definitely think, man, if it's someone that's up to the challenge, it's him. But from what I'm seeing, I want the Eagles to take it. I want
mm,
the Eagles to win the Super Bowl at this point of the year, just off the fact, man, they're the most well-balanced team that's not getting a lot of notoriety, in my
right.
opinion, as much as they should. I know they're talking about the Chiefs. The Bills have been in the conversation, the Detroit Lions. But to me, I don't think the Eagles are getting enough talk as to being true contenders to win it all. Just off the fact, man, they're stacked on both ends of the ball, and they truly play complementary football between the offense and the defense.
Mm,
Um, just breaking down the offense, I mean, you got a dual threat in Jalen Hurts, who's man, I want to say that his passer rating has been at 119 or higher the last 5 games with 0 interceptions the last 4 games. You have the most talented running back, which of course he put on display again on Sunday in
yeah,
Saquon Barkley. You have one of the best wide receiver duos in AJ Brown and Smitty on the other side, and then you got a solid tight end in Dallas Goedert. And I just think, man, right now as well, Philly is ranked four in time of possession, which they always are ranked top five in time of possession, man. They control the clock.
Right.
And then on the defensive side of the ball, man, I mean, their total defense, Philly is ranked three, only allowing an average of 290.1 total yards. Pass yards allowed, they're ranked number seven, only allowing 189 total yards allowed. They're ranked number five in terms of rush yards allowed. Scoring defense is at the bottom of the top 10. They're ranked number nine, but in red zone defense, they're ranked number six with a red zone efficiency rate of 45.8. They can get after on the ball. And then in the secondary, you still got Darius Slay, CJ Gardner Johnson. I just think, man, in terms of a total team, they're the most well-balanced team. I know that their offensive line is not strong as it used to be since Kelsey retired. But I mean, they still have Lane Johnson. They still have some young players that are still getting acclimated. They have taken a dip in terms of that tush push play. They're not hitting it as high as they used to. But I
Right.
think their defense, their pass rushing defense is better than it was last year to make up for some of that. They still have a great run game with Saquon and Jalen Hurts. I mean, that just helps when you have the most talented running back plus a dual threat quarterback, along with, man, AJ Brown and Smitty. AJ Brown needs to get more traction in terms of him being one of the best receivers. I think he's top three, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And I mean, Smitty can run routes like no other, and he's a deep threat with that speed. So I would like to see Philly win the Super Bowl or at least get there,
Right.
because I definitely think they can compete, man. And people don't pay enough attention to that time of possession.
Yeah.
That's why, like in any big matchups, especially against those great wide receivers. I mean, not great wide receivers, the great quarterbacks like your Lamars, like your Pat Mahomes, like your Josh Allens. I think they'll always be able to compete, even though I don't think Jalen Hurts is on the level of them, but because of that time of possession. Last year they were ranked number two in terms of time of possession. The key to stop those great quarterbacks is not necessarily to always try and shut them down. It's to keep them off of the field. And
Mm.
Philly does that like no other in terms of their offense, along with the playmaking abilities and the playmakers that they have on
Right.
their offense. So that in conjunction with their great defense this year, I feel like Philly has a chance. I feel like Philly has a chance, and I definitely would like to see them in that position again.
Yeah. Anybody that it can get as creative as thinking I can spin off of somebody, then jump backwards over another defender's head. I mean, that's hard to compete with. Like,
Yeah,
how do you even guard that? Like, did you jump over my head backwards? Like, yo, so you know what I'm saying? So if anybody could be that athletic and that creative off the ball, you got to give it to them. Eagles is gonna be scary regardless. You know what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
Like you said,
For
they
sure.
well balanced and creative. So I definitely give
I
them
mean,
that for sure.
Saquon hit a LaShawn McCoy and an Adrian Peterson in one play.
Dude, man, the fact, yo, and it's like it's unbelievable to watch because like they've been showing the guy's legs since he got drafted. But
Mhm.
like when you actually put that to use, like you can actively not just running through somebody, you jumping over them now. So
Backwards.
you know what I'm saying? It's serious, man. Saquon is a scary dude, man. So
And the
Philly,
heart, knowing jumping
yeah.
backwards, you're about to get hit. You're about to get sandwiched, bro. Like
Yo,
you know that hit's coming. He didn't care.
he didn't care.
He
He
didn't
didn't care.
like no care was given.
Yeah, and then it's crazy too because like you have to be scared of an offensive player who can think on the drop of a dime like that when they have the ball. Because if I'm already fast and I can run, jump, I can run through you if I wanted to. But like you said, he's fearless. He's fearless. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. that was definitely cool to look at for sure, man.
Yeah.
So as long as he protects himself, any further injuries going into the the rest of the year, man, Saquon is gonna be bullying him on the field regardless.
Hmm. And see, and on top of that, man, they have that makeup that you want to see in a championship contending team. For all of the negative criticism that Nick Sirianni, the Eagles head coach, gets, look, man, I appreciate that, Lou. We gonna go for it on fourth.
Hmm.
He's playing to win. He can be a little unprofessional at times, but listen, I'll take that. You just need someone to reel him back in. But in the team too, man, the fearlessness of Barkley. You got Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is what, a buck 65?
Hmm.
But look how hard he goes, man. The heart,
Yeah.
the the intangibles of Jalen Hurts. He might not be the most skilled, but those winning intangibles that he brings to the team, those leadership qualities, that resilience that he's displayed even since college at getting benched in the national championship with Alabama and then going to another school and proving himself again and again. And then
Mm.
just the dog and AJ Brown and Dallas Goddard. They have
Yeah.
that makeup that you also feel can just take you to even new heights on top of the talent that you already have stacked on your team on both ends of the ball. But of
Facts.
course, with that being said, that's us speaking from who we want to win.
Yeah, yeah. Philly obviously know how to choose them as far as like heart. We've seen that with AI. Now look at the team that they got now, man. I mean,
Yep.
they definitely take heart seriously for sure.
Right. Now, from a non-bias and dealing with the head and not the heart,
Mm.
who's your actual Super Bowl pick at this juncture of the season to win it,
Uh,
to take it all.
I'm gonna say the Lions. Um, they have the number one offense in the league right now. I know the only thing that was really hurting them was that Aiden Hutchinson injury. He was a pretty good pass rusher for them, man. But being replaced by Zadarius Smith, hopefully that helps with the loss of them losing Hutchinson due to that injury. And I like the way that Ben Johnson has been playing the calls and keeping everybody on their toes. As far as his offensive play calling goes, man. And I really think that that is a key thing to be able to keep the defense moving the way you need them to, because that's really what you're doing as far as calling plays on the offense. You're predicting that they're going to move this way when you shift your offense from left to right or however you want to go. And if you can continue to outsmart the defense on every level, you're really going to have that defense, whoever you play, is going to have an issue stopping you, and it's gonna give you more time to throw the ball. It's gonna give your running backs more time to find holes in the defense to punch through. So Lions has been pretty creative on the offensive side, man. The defense, it's not hurting too much, but I mean they fourth in red zone efficiency at 43, and their first and third down defense at 29. I mean, if you can stop them around third down and not have to force or get to that fourth down in order to create a turnover, that'd be great. They just need to continue what they're doing so far. Um, you know, I hope for their sake that they don't have to do a shotgun type of game if they go into the Super Bowl with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, because I don't think it's going to pretty much work in their favor as much. But as far as the play that I've been seeing up until now, the Lions have a good shot at taking it all away.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Lions, they have a bend but don't break type of defense. And again, I think that they're another team that plays complementary football. For all of their challenges on the defensive end of the ball, I definitely think that high power offense um, makes up for what they're lacking defensively.
Mm.
Um, I mean, on offense, Ben Johnson won't be there next year. Best play caller in the NFL, in my opinion. Just off the strength of he's doing this with a non-mobile quarterback.
Right.
Jared Goff can't run. And
Mm-hmm.
he's doing all of this from the pocket. And I think Ben Johnson, his schemes for Jared Goff in that two running back set, along with Armand St. Brown, Jameson Williamson, I mean, Sam Laporta at the tight end. I mean, they're the most explosive offense in the NFL this year.
Right.
Um, Now for me, it's crazy you picked the Lions because the Lions are the reason I'm not picking the Eagles as my Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
pick this year. I want to see them win it. I think that they can, but they're gonna have to go into Detroit because Detroit is gonna lock up that number one NFC spot. They're gonna get that home game,
Mm-hmm.
all the home games all throughout the NFC run. They're gonna get a bye more than likely if they continue on this trajectory of being the number one team in the NFC.
They
And
very
I
well.
think that's going to be a heavy task for Philadelphia to go into Detroit, especially the fact that Detroit should have been in the Super Bowl last year if the Detroit Lions coach Dan Campbell would have been a little more conservative, take those 3 points and
Mm-hmm.
continue to have it up to a three-score game instead of trying to go for it. I think that they should have been in the Super Bowl last year, but just them having that experience from last year, them
Right.
going through their trials where they were on the cusp the year before of making the playoffs for the first time in I don't know how many years when
Mm-hmm.
they went into Green Bay and beat Aaron Rodgers. Even though they didn't make the playoffs, they were, I think, like one game within making it. And I mean, they beat a division rival, Aaron Rodgers, in Green Bay to knock them out of playoff contention. So they've definitely taken their hits, and they've been on a uphill battle since they brought Dan Campbell on as their head coach. So I that's the reason why I'm not picking Philly. I think it's the Detroit Lions year to make it to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm gonna still take the Chiefs, man. As hard as that is for me to pick them, I am not a Chiefs fan. There was a time where I did want to see them win multiple championships when they had Tyreek Hill, because I'm a Tyreek Hill fan too.
Right. Right.
Um, but it's just hard for me to think, number one, that anyone is going to go into Arrowhead in the AFC and take down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And it's hard for me to see that they have a chance to do something that's never been done in the history of the NFL and just bet against Patrick Mahomes, man. Again, I'm do not get it twisted. Let me preface my comments by saying I am not a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm not a Patrick Mahomes fan. I think that Lamar Jackson is a better football player and quarterback, in my opinion, than
Right.
Patrick Mahomes. I think Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes he just has that it factor where when the game's on the line, man, if you don't put him away early, if
You're
you
gonna get
leave
it done.
if you leave any window of opportunity for him to win the game, he's going to win it. I mean, they have the favor of the refs, in my opinion. Listen, I guess you could say they've earned that. But on top of that, think about it, bro. What are they, 8-0 or 9-0 this year?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look what they
Patrick
did with the
Mahomes hasn't
Buccaneers.
Patrick Mahomes hasn't been playing dynamic. It's been the defense, man. I mean, the Chiefs defense is ranked number 5 this year, in total defense. They are ranked 15 in pass yards allowed in terms of their pass defense, but they're ranked number 3 in their rushing defense. They're ranked number 4 in scoring defense. Um, and just the fact that they have a superstar on that D line in Chris Jones, who just continues to close out games for that defense. They have Steve Spagnuolo, who's without a question the number one defensive coordinator in the NFL. And looking at the offensive side of the ball, man, I think we need to pay more attention as an audience to that connection between Patrick Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins
Mm.
had
Right.
two touchdowns last week. And I think this will be going into his second game. I'm starting to, be scared of that tandem between Patrick Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins. Now D Hop has a legit quarterback throwing him the ball with
Right.
Travis Kelce, who's starting to pick up heat at this point of the year. I think he's starting to smell that the playoffs aren't too far, so he's picking up traction.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you still got Xavier Worthy, who's still finding his way, but is a deep threat, speedster. And we're not even, and I think the pickup of Kareem Hunt has been big for their running game since
Mm.
Isaiah Pacheco, which let's keep in mind, he is scheduled to come back at some point of the year.
Right. Yep.
Sheen Rice, another wideout, is scheduled to come back at some point of the year. So with that being said, and Juju Smith-Schuster, who has also made plays at big times for the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and this year since he's been back from his tenure with the New England Patriots, I just find it hard to believe, man, that anyone is going to beat the Chiefs this year. I think they're highly motivated. I do not
Right.
want to see it. I'm hoping Lamar can take them out in
Yeah.
the AFC Championship game. But you got to think, man, he couldn't do it last year, and the Ravens had the best team last year on both sides of the ball. On
Yeah.
both sides of the ball. And the playoff run came through Baltimore in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't take down Patrick Mahomes.
I'm
So,
hoping. I hope that he learned enough with the team that he had last year and know that he
right,
doesn't have the same this year
right,
and know that okay, even though I don't, just make the adjustment still and then see how it goes because you never know. You know, maybe he needed to take that setback to for a comeback, but it would definitely be even more heartbreaking to see him go back and have that same type of game again, and then
right.
see Patrick Mahomes accept another championship with a Super Bowl. So I want to keep things interesting, man. Let's shake it up. So Lamar, I want to see it. I want to see it, man. And it ain't just on you either. It's just that you the name when it comes to testing that team.
Yeah.
So
And
we definitely, yeah, I definitely want to see that happen.
yeah, hey, he's our only hope.
Right.
He's our first hope, and then we have a second hope on whoever plays them in the Super Bowl. But like
Yeah.
I said, it's a 17 game season plus a
Hmm.
playoffs. We'll see what happens. But until next time, again, make sure you subscribe to all our platforms.
For
We'll have
sure.
another episode dropping for the NBA. Stay tuned.